Right, it's me again, and we'll just go through step. It's made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Um, and really just saying, I can't, which is the ego side or the addictive side, said, I can't, I've tried, I've tried to stay off it, I've tried to control it, and it just hasn't worked. My life has become kind of unmanageable. As you say there, we have to come to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity because it has become chaotic and become insane. Saying she or he or it or whatever can, so I'm not going to label God being a him, her, or whatever it is. So it's whatever you believe in again, you know, your higher self, God, and that's making a decision to turn our lives and our will over to the care of God as we or you understand him, her, it, or whatever. So it's saying that I'm going to let it happen. So I'm going to let somebody or God or whoever help me in this recovery. I'm going to hand it over. So how? That's the big question. Everybody asks that. How do you do that? How do you hand over? How do you let go? How do you let somebody else that you can't see, smell, taste, touch, see, whatever, help you? But we'll break it down of how. First, you need to have the will and the desire. And it's the will to change, the will to stop, and that has to be strong. I've never seen anybody who hasn't had strong enough will stay in recovery because they have to want it, and that's the main thing. And that can grow. You might not want it as much in the beginning, but it has to grow. But for most people, you call it the rock bottom. And I think it is necessary in a sense to hit that rock bottom. The rock bottom can be lifted, doesn't have to be complete disaster, but people do need a desire. Um, that desire in a negative way was the addiction, the desire to drink, and then you turn it around, remove the desire to drink to satisfy your addiction, and choose not to take that first drink, drug, or bet. And we'll go back to the choosing again, and with the unmanageability and the powerlessness, you do lose that power of choice in the sense where, once you lift that first drink, it takes you. But you have the power of choice to make a decision to decide whether you do lift that first drink. Once you've been off it for a period of time, you get that power back. So it goes back to yourself, that ownership, that responsibility. So, you have more control then. Letting go of any unwanted feelings by allowing yourself to feel them. So what we just say, um, emotions, we feel them in the body, we feel them emotionally, we think them, um, and it's becoming aware of them where they are. You get different techniques, breathing exercises to help you let go of negative emotions. But what we're saying is handing them over, but don't run. And in that sense, don't run away from your emotions. Sit with them. And it's very hard for a person in recovery to sit with their emotions because they use alcohol and drugs to run away, to anesthetize themselves from their emotions. So it's suddenly to say, well, sit with your emotions can be difficult, and that's what people do need the help there. But it does come. Leaving the rest to God or your higher power, and that's where you're handing it over, you're breathing it out. And there is a process to it. I know it might sound like to some people like a bit of mumbo jumbo or very holistic, but it does work, and you can come to believe and you can start to feel more grounded and relaxed when you do this process. Making a decision, and that's again going back to responsibility, becoming responsible for yourself. And a decision is a big thing. It's not something to take lightly because, again, in active addiction, we never made decisions. We never made choices. We never stood by our decisions. We had no conviction over our decisions because we had no trust and no self-worth in ourselves. So as you say, responsibility, making decisions, it's a big thing. It's choice, and one of the greatest gifts that recovery can give you, I know what it gave me, was that power of choice. I got that power of choice back again in my life where I was able to decide what I can and what I can't do, what I should and what I shouldn't do, etc., etc. You know, by doing that again as well, you do have to weigh up the pros and cons. A lot of people do, because a lot of people, yes, at this stage, even in step 3, would be ambivalent as to well, am I or anti an addict or an alcoholic? I know I've heard the evidence for and against. Now I need to work this out myself. So I need to sit down and write down. You can call it a cost benefit analysis or pros and cons or whatever you want to call it, and see where I'm at. And then your wants over your needs. When you're making decisions, you have to really do that. Yes, everybody wants to do this and wants to do that, but you have to say, well, what is it that I need? What do I need to do? You could be sitting there on a Monday night and it's 8:30 and time to go to your AA meeting, but there's a great program on the telly. Yes, you want to sit and watch the telly, but you need to go to your AA meeting. So you have to put your needs over your wants to say, well, look, yes, the telly will be there when I come back, but I need my meeting. Letting go, and again, going back, is letting go of the things we can't control. And that's the powerlessness again. And, it's very liberating when you start to look at that for what it is, what you can't control. And it's a lot more than just the alcohol and drugs. There's so much in life that we can't control, but we try and control it. We spend our lives, as human beings, we spend more time trying to control other people. If we even spent a fraction of that time just trying to control ourselves, it'd be amazing what we'd get done, and we'd have less stress because we wouldn't be trying to get other people to do things that they don't want to do in the first place. So that letting go, in the sense, is focusing back on yourself, being responsible for yourself, doing what you need for yourself, and not worrying about what other people are doing, feeling, thinking, etc. In that sense, you don't have to control other people. And turning over our will, self will run riot, as I said before, and that was just the chaos of addiction. No matter what we did, it didn't work. It just spiraled completely out of control. Asking for help, handing over a will, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Everybody, as I said before, everybody needs help in life. No man or woman is an island. We can't exist on our own. It's not in our nature as a species. We're a social animal. We need each other to function. We need each other to survive. Without each other, we would perish. So we need to be in a place to ask for help, and it's okay to ask for help. No one's going to turn around and say no. And if they do say no, ask somebody else. It's as simple as that. The fear of the unknown is fear of the self. And that's basic, because the biggest thing we fear in life is ourselves. It's our own internal fears. And it's not so much what we can do, but maybe what we can. It's our abilities rather than our disabilities that we fear, because we're not sure. We were conditioned, etc. in life. Going through addiction, you're conditioned there as well. And so you're full of fear anyway, as it is. So, what is not known can be scary. But again, just remember that fear is an internal thing. It's not something that's put on you. So you have to look at your own fear and feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. Become aware of your fear. Where is it? Where do you feel it in your body? You're in emotionally, or how often do you think fear? Has it progressed to anxiety? Are you afraid of the future? And just look at it for what it is and where it is, because it is important that you start to do that. And life on life's terms, and that's it. That is, but what else can we do? We have to live life on life's terms, because life will not live on our terms. It's again going back to the powerlessness. You can't control life. It's impossible. So there's no point. You have to go along with it. Yes, you have choices and you can make decisions and you can take responsibility for yourself, but you can't control life. There's no point in even trying to do it. And dwelling on your problems only makes them worse. Yep. Focus on your problems, deal with your problems, and move on. Find a solution. Find a solution to what your problems are, because every problem has a solution. If it's a human problem, it has a human solution. So it's about looking at, what can I do about this problem? And if there's nothing you can do, you just let it go. And then what you put in now is what you get out, and more. And that's a slogan you'll hear in AA rooms as well. And it's very true. The harder work you put in now, the more reward you will get. And you'll get it in time. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is a process. This is a lifelong process. So in God's care, as we understand God, so that's just your belief. And let's say, going back to that, it doesn't matter what you or who you believe in or not, but as long as you have that inner sense that things will be okay with you, that inner being, whatever it is. So it's having belief, and even belief in yourself is very important. Having faith in that belief that it's going to be okay. And even again, if that's having faith in yourself, faith in family, sponsor, other people in recovery groups. The trust, and the trust in yourself, the trust to be able to trust yourself, to trust your decisions, to trust what you're going to do, trust other people that they are there to help you. There's no ulterior motive, that most people do help each other unconditionally, and the sense of peace. And nothing can beat that sense of peace. When you've been racked by addiction for so many years and your head's just gone, to have that sense of peace where you can just sit and just breathe. And, not to say not have a worry in the world, but to know that you can deal with a lot of things and you don't have to run to the bar or the off license and medicate yourself. And the tranquility, like the peace as well, it's just, peace of mind. And of course, hope. Hope floats, as they say. And your life, and this is what this is all about, because you're changing your life and you have to live your life. Don't let your life live you. You live your life. And love, of course, unconditional love, and that's what carries everything. So the step 3 prayer is, God, I offer myself to you to build with me and to do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of my small self, I suppose my ego, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of your power, of your love, of your way. May I do your will always.